Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
This is a very even more interesting interview than most of them because it's to do with, I'm just going to say it, dirty mouths. And this isn't what your kid comes home and says something bad and you want to clean out their mouth. No. This is the older adult who is lying in bed or at home and they can't clean out their mouth. They don't know how. Can you imagine having someone has this mouth that is just all gooey and ugly? And so I met a person who is, her name's Angie Stone, and she's part of this research called HyLife Oral Health Alliance. And it's a group of people that help the seniors receive lifetime oral care. So thank you for calling us, Angie.
Anita, thank you so much for having me and letting me kind of share some information so that together we can make the lives of these dependent adults the best that they can have.
I love it. And you're calling from Wisconsin, right?
Yes, I am.
I remember Wisconsin when I lived in Minneapolis, going over to Michigan and went on the Wisconsin Dells.
Ah, yes, that's a famous
place. What it's called, right? I love that. I went tubing on the Dells.
There you go. Yeah, it's like the largest water park in the country, I believe. In the
really?
Dells, we've got the most water parks I think of anyone in the country. So, yeah, it's quite a place.
When it's warm.
It's warm.
Not doing it now. Okay, so getting on a serious note. When I first spoke to Angie, she was telling me about a person who would be at home. Maybe they can't move their hands or their arms, or maybe they can, but they don't really know how to clean their mouth out. And here's a very brave organization that comes and cleans people's mouths. I had never heard of this before, Angie. I think you have to get a big award for this.
Oh, well, bless you for saying that. This really, Anita, is something that people don't really even think about. And in all honesty, even as a dental hygienist, I didn't understand the enormity of this problem until I had a experience with a loved one as she aged. And it was my mother-in-law, and she had COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, if anyone listening doesn't know what the letters stand for. But it's her lungs, in addition to not working right, at the end of her life kept getting infected. And she also had periodontal disease. Well, in the nursing home, there's not typically people there taking care of periodontal disease. I was able to do that when she could come to my dental office, but when she got to the point where she didn't travel well because she couldn't breathe, her mouth went uncared for. And I remember standing in her room in the nursing home thinking, she is sick because of what's going on in her mouth. But nobody was recognizing it. There wasn't a dentist there. I was a younger hygienist, and I knew that I couldn't do anything because of the state laws without a dentist. And so I literally watched her die from dirty teeth. I'm convinced of it.
No. Because it's funny. With all the projects that I've done, as a gerontologist, I never had that happen. Now, I know that when my mother was bedridden, that she had to have someone come in, a dentist, because her false teeth were not fitting right. But we never discussed that now. And when my husband was in a rehab center and he was really not doing well, I would take this little thing and put it in his mouth and try to clean it out. But that's not what we're talking about, is it?
No, that's not really what we're talking about. So I think that the little thing that we're talking about has a sponge on the end. It's called a toothpick.
Yes, right.
And you can use them to try to get the bacteria controlled in the mouth. But basically, the toothpicks are used for moistening.
Right.
And so it isn't really like a bacterial. It isn't intended to control the bacteria. And so what we know is when people are not having that bacteria controlled, it can lead to other things like aspiration pneumonia. Aspiration pneumonia almost always comes from what's happening in our mouth. And things like heart attacks and strokes, we're higher at risk when our mouth is not healthy for those two items. Diabetes can't be controlled when the mouth is not healthy. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
So let me ask you a question. My husband had a feeding tube and nothing could go in his mouth. And wouldn't that be terrible, though?
Wouldn't what be terrible, Anita?
The fact that you're not cleaning out his mouth.
Yeah, because, I mean, we all have bacteria in our mouth. It's just the way it is. And the bacteria then proliferates. I mean, it grows, right? And so every 24 hours, we have enough plaque or bacteria. That's what plaque is. It's the bacteria. I can go into a better description of what the plaque actually is. But that's what causes all the dental disease is the bacteria in the mouth. And then it's also inflammatory. And it doesn't just stay in the mouth. I mean, we're all connected, right? I don't know any mouths that sit outside the body. It's all connected, and we know that the mouth is the gateway to our health.
Well, one thing I do want to say, we don't want to forget this, that XLEAR, do we say XLEAR or just XLEAR? XLEAR. That I've had the privilege of working with Nate, who is the owner of XLEAR, and I have to tell you, what a great man he is. And I know he is supporting this, the fact that you are here. He's the one that recommended that we have you on our radio show. And he understands it with those products. Those products are extraordinary. And so what do you use of his products for cleaning out?
Well, this is absolutely amazing. And Nathan is an amazing man. And his products have an ingredient called xylitol. And xylitol is a natural occurring sugar substitute. It's found in plants, fruits, and vegetables. And even our bodies make xylitol every day. About a tablespoon of xylitol our bodies create every day. And so the beauty of xylitol with dental health is that when we get xylitol into the mouths of anybody, it helps to control that bacteria. So the bacteria, the bad guys, are not able to create acid. And acid is then what leads to tooth decay. So with the xylitol in the XLEAR products, actually the dental line is called Spry. And we use that with our clients. We'll use an array of products, toothpaste. If our clients can use gum, they can use gum sweetened with xylitol. Most of ours will use mints or tooth gel. And we simply get that in their mouth a few times a day in between our brushing and between the teeth cleaning visits. And so the bacteria is being controlled in between our visits with the Spry products.
Yes, I have the gum, as a matter of fact. Yeah. And I use the xylitol for my sweetener.
It's an amazing sweetener. It's great for diabetics. The glycemic index we know of sugar is 83. The glycemic index of xylitol is just 7.
Huh.
Yeah, so
Fabulous.
It's awesome for diabetic people. It has 40% fewer calories than sugar. I mean, it's great stuff all around.
Okay, so when did you first become, I guess, are you a dental hygienist? Is that what your profession is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you've been doing this for a long time?
Well, I started out in the United States Navy as a dental assistant.
Huh.
And then when I got out of the Navy, I went to dental hygiene school. And so I've been a dental hygienist since 97. And this problem with the elders was brought to me with my mother-in-law in 2003. So I've been working on a solution to help reduce the suffering of our dependent adults, either in their homes or their care communities. They don't need to suffer from poor oral health at one of the most vulnerable times in their life.
All right, so I have a few questions. I know that I spoke to you and you're all over the country, but there's only one place now in Florida, and you said that was Lauderdale by the Sea.
Yes, I have an oral care specialist who is providing oral care to dependent adults in the Lauderdale by the Sea area.
Okay, so how do we publicize that, and how much does it cost? Does Medicare pay for this?
So here's the thing. Medicare doesn't really cover anything for dentistry.
That's true.
And
you're right.
Yeah. And so it isn't covered by that. And nobody is really on board with paying for prevention. So, I mean, it's the craziest thing. We'll use all of our money to pay for people when they're sick, right? But we're not really into keeping them healthy. So our services are all private pay.
Okay, and is it very expensive to go in there and clean someone's mouth?
It's not. Our clients are seen on whatever interval is best for the client. It's patient-centered care. And so we notice that our clients either are needing once a month as they're, if they have cognitive decline, if they have physical decline, sometimes as they decline, we'll up that frequency. And so it can be once a month, twice a month, or 4 times a month. And the most expensive is the 4 times a month, obviously, and that's $100.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, and we bring all the spry products. We bring all the toothpaste, all the toothbrushes. That's what we charge.
Oh, that is absolutely wonderful. And if it were just one time, what would you charge?
One time is $50.
Okay, well, I think that we need to publicize this because I think a lot of people would love this, but nobody knows about this. This is we'll have to go and talk to XLEAR about this, Nathan, because this is funny. As much as this is my profession as a gerontologist, and I just had people from the hospital come in. We talk about stroke and memory loss. We talk about all these things. This is the most simple thing to be able to have, and not everyone can do it. I think it does take a dental hygienist with training. You can't just have a care person come in. A lot of people have, their caretakers come in, but they don't know what to do.
Well, and that's interesting because I talk to care communities, so like nursing homes, assisted living, memory care centers, and their general thing is, well, our caregivers take care of that. And,
oh, you're right.
Exactly. That's my response, but they don't like to hear that, obviously, because brushing the teeth and cleaning the mouth is an activity of daily living in ADL. And, of course, that care team is supposed to be taking care of all of the ADLs. What we know is that the oral care ADL is very, very different than all of the other ADLs that they complete, and that the caregivers, hands down, Anita, when I talk to them, they do not typically want to be in the mouth. They would rather to change diapers than be in the mouth. And
really?
I, as a hygienist, would rather be in someone's mouth than change a diaper.
Of course.
So why are we not utilizing people who have the skill set to do what they do best rather than trying to wrap everything into one person? And my other thought on that is, well, they have hairdressers at these places, right? But the aides wash the hair, but they don't set it, they don't perm it, they don't cut it.
Right.
They need a higher level of care in that regard, and these folks oftentimes need a higher level of oral care than what the care team is able to provide. The care team isn't doing anything wrong. They aren't the best people to be providing oral care, and my belief is that a dental hygienist is the best person on the face of the planet to provide that care.
I totally agree with you. Is when I go to my dentist, and I get my oral care, and then I clean my teeth. It's fantastic, and nobody can just do that. You have to be trained to do that. Yeah,
and so it's interesting. I just taped some education courses out in the Seattle area for a company that does online education, and so they brought in a model for me to actually, an older lady who acted as my patient.
Right.
And I simply, on camera, I brushed and flossed her teeth. That's all I did, brushed and cleaned between her teeth. I didn't have any dental hygiene instruments, no polishing. When she looked at me when I was done and she said, I cannot believe how good that felt and how awesome my mouth feels. And she's like a normal person that goes out and does her own thing. She's like, This is amazing. I'm like, because we know what we're doing.
That's right. So would you train people if you started to come down here? So you have a dental hygienist. Do they still know what to do, or do you have to train them about what you want them to do with an older person?
That's a great question. So just taking a dental hygienist out of like a family practice dental office and plopping them into this realm is not the best idea.
Right.
We work a lot with Alzheimer's patients. And so there needs to be some special training in my mind. We need to have special training to work with these kinds of patients. And so when the hygienists come to our program, they become certified caregivers through the American Caregiving Association. And they also then will take some courses in dementia. And in fact, we are a dementia-friendly business. We have that certification. And then a lot of my oral care specialists are also certified dementia practitioners, CDPs.
This is fantastic. It's funny, we just finished talking about there's a wonderful hospital that has, they're just finishing up their neuroscience building, and of course they're dealing with people with stroke and Alzheimer's and all those things, and they don't have anything like this. This is a natural. I'm really got my brain really going, because they need to be able to know that when someone is in this condition, that they recommend that they hire someone like you and your organization to do this for so many of the reasons. Here they're going to spend a lot of money on other things, all the, the vitamins and all the pharmaceuticals, and if they're not cleaning out a person's mouth properly, what is that all about?
Yeah, it really is. To me, Anita, it's such a no-brainer, and it's like I know that the people we've served over 170 clients, and I mean, this is new. I did not pick to do this, so I had to figure all of this stuff out. The problem came to me, and I've been trying to be a good steward in developing a solution that's easy and doesn't cost a fortune. And so it's like we have to know this. We have to keep the mouths clean. And if we don't, it's like people don't typically realize there's a problem until it's way too late. And so now let's say someone with Alzheimer's is showing behaviors, and we don't have a clue why they're showing behaviors. So we start looking at all these other things, and not a lot of people think about, well, what if they have a toothache?
Yeah.
I mean, and then how do you get them to the dentist when they're in those middle to late stages of Alzheimer's? They can't sit in a dental chair.
Right.
They can't get numbed up, and this disease is preventable.
Yep.
With good oral care. You and I prevent it all day long in ourselves.
Yep. Well, let me just say that this is a wonderful thing that Nathan Jones, who is the CEO, the owner of XLEAR, and they have so many incredible products. But we're talking with Angie Stone, who is she's the founder and CEO of HyLife Oral Health Alliance, and she's calling in from Edgerton, Wisconsin, and we want to know, so my question is, so if someone wants more information, I really want to do an article on this in Boomer Times coming up, so we'll work on that together, but where would someone want to call to talk to you? Should they call your cell number?
They can call our office line, which is 608-884-0038. Our website is www, of course, .HyLife. It's HYLIFEOHA.com.
Okay.
And then there's a contact there too. You can send us an email. We have a little referral form there you can fill out. We have a couple ways.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. I love this. This is a whole new. I love things that are on the cutting edge. Pardon the expression. But so do this. Let's make like this is a little bit of a play game. So you go into a person's home. Let's say it's an 85-year-old woman, and she can hardly, manage things. Tell us what you would start. Just go through the whole thing. Do this virtually.
So what we would do first is, so we would obviously be contacted at first by usually a family member. The family members are the ones that hire us to come in typically. I would have thought that care communities in and of themselves would hire us so that every person in that care community could have oral care. Does that not make sense?
Yep.
Makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
We have one community that's done that. But again, as you said, this is cutting edge, and it's a paradigm shift. So it's going to take people a little bit of time to get caught up. So the families usually are the ones that hire us. So we go in and we do a consultation. We chat with the family. We chat with the person whom we're going to care for, and we determine what their capabilities are. And then we look in their mouth. We do a little bit of a oral health assessment, a screening, just a look-see, and determine how much plaque is on their teeth and things like that. Kind of look to see if their gums look like they're bleedy, if they're inflamed. And then we make a recommendation about frequency of care. So let's say that we have Millie, and we're going to see Millie, we've decided, once a week. So once a week we will come in, we'll bring, we use a toothbrush that we supply for Millie and some toothpaste, and we simply brush her teeth thoroughly and then clean between her teeth with simply brushes or dental floss, everything that, you would use to take care of your own teeth. And then we keep an eye on things to see, if we think there's something that's a problem. Of course, we can't diagnose dental disease. So then we can let the family know that, hey, we think something looks like it may be going on with Millie. Let's connect you with your dentist or a dentist in the community.
Okay. And then go ahead.
On a daily
That's
basis,
good.
so that family member or the care team at the community, wherever this person lives, will then administer the xylitol after each meal to control the bacteria in between our visits.
Right. Okay. So now you have to decide if it is a weekly chore or if it's a monthly chore. But that person now, do they sit in a chair? How do you do this? If they're lying in bed, what do you do?
Wherever they are comfy. And so we seriously, I've done this at the kitchen table before. I've done this in people's beds. Some people prefer to walk to the bathroom and then they sit on the closed toilet. It's really wherever the person is. We're mobile. We're completely mobile. So it's wherever that person is more comfortable. I've done it in recliners, in someone's living room. It really depends on the client because it's all patient-centered.
Yep. That's very fair of you. That's lovely. And so is there a particular, let's go to someone who has dementia. That must be a little bit different for you to do this, not to frighten them.
It is different. And so what we know is that there's certain approaches that we can try. And there are certain things. I sing a fair amount. Singing can really help to calm them. And so it's interesting to be singing and brushing the teeth at the same time. But it oftentimes really works, a little bit of music therapy. And then there are, some other redirecting techniques that we can use. And the bottom line is that there are going to be people that are not going to allow anybody in their mouth. I mean, I don't have any, magic that I can do to get every single person to allow me into their mouth. What I know, though, is that with the use of the xylitol, these folks that are in that situation really stand a better chance of keeping their dental health good than not having the xylitol. And the xylitol can be put in a mouth very simply. We have gel. We have a mouth spray, so they don't need to chew gum or suck on mints. We can even just put a little bit of toothpaste in the mouth and let that sit in the mouth because the xylitol helps feed the bacteria.
Love it. Well, I'm very happy. So how long have you known about xylitol?
Oh, my goodness. I have published research with xylitol with nursing home residents in a peer-reviewed medical journal. That was in 2007. I did my research, so I probably knew about xylitol since 2004 is when I really started learning about it.
Well, I learned about mine, let's see, probably when they were at the expo, our last 2 expos ago. And I got the gum, and I got the one thing that I've loved, of course, hasn't anything to do with dental work, is, of course, the spray for the sinus.
I knew that's where that comment was going to go because that's amazing. I cannot tell you how many people, I just hand that stuff out like like crazy. I'm like,
right.
What do you mean you're sniffling? What do you mean you have allergies? What do you mean you have upper
Right.
respiratory sinus
Right.
infection? Like,
Right.
here, squirt this up your nose, right?
Right.
The Clear nasal spray is really, that's the product that the company was founded on, and Nathan's father, Dr. Lon Jones, created that product, and he was reducing middle ear infections in kids with the use of the nasal spray in his practice. And so, yeah, the nasal spray is amazing. We could do a whole nother talk about that.
But so as a dental hygienist, why does it affect you?
Oh, my gosh. It's amazing because we have people that will come into our chairs, if we're talking in the clinical world, right, clinical dental hygiene. People will come and sit in our chairs and be like, oh, don't lean me back because I can't breathe. Like, why can't you breathe? Oh, my nose is all plugged up. Okay, well, if a nose is plugged up, that affects our treatment because, they can't breathe through their nose and we're in their mouth. And so giving them a little, like a sample bottle of Clear nasal spray will oftentimes clear that nose up right away. And then when we review med history, if my patients are talking about, on their medical history, if they have sinusitis, if they have middle ear infections, if they have allergies, to me, the discussion about that always has to go to xylitol.
Right.
Because I know it doesn't have a direct effect on the teeth and the gums, the nasal spray, but I think we're about taking care of the person, not just their mouth, right? So why would I not talk to them about something that's so easy and natural and cheap to keep them healthy?
Well, Angie Stone, you have been such a delight, and I know we're going to be talking a lot more, but I love this subject. It's because it's so important, and yet it's so simple, and it's so unknown. And so thank you so much for calling us. If you want to reach Angie, go to her website, which is HyLife, HYLIFEOHA.com, and we certainly look forward to more with you, and thank you for what you do.
Oh, my gosh, Anita, thank you for what you do, and thank you for giving me a platform today to talk about my passion and my mission.
Oh, you're wonderful. Okay, thank you, Angie. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.